You're recognized for your 5 minutes.
Good morning, colleagues, people of the territory, and to testifiers. I did have an opportunity to go through this bill. I think that, I guess for me personally, I think the adjustments in attempting to limit the commissioners and directors to a minimum of the boards is a good thing. I might be a little bit more radical where I might probably would have pushed a little bit more for making sure they're not in any type of chairmanships on any of these boards, because I fully understand and recognize the responsibilities to govern and manage an entire division that is so critical to the people of the territory, especially agencies that offer critical services to the community on a daily basis. I am in support of the bill, and once it goes through this process, hopefully on the floor I will have an opportunity to vote in the affirmative. But I would really have liked to see a little bit more in regards to limiting specific positions on these boards in regards to specific commissioners or directors being at the helm. I think that is an additional responsibility where they need to focus on getting their initial job done. I don't have a problem with them being on boards where their opinions and voices can be heard, in addition to their expertise being offered to assist with the board. But giving them that additional responsibility to head the board is a major concern for me, because they need to focus on their job. So I do support the bill. Hopefully I might see some amendments or offer some myself, but thank you so much for coming and sharing your testimony. I return the balance of my time.
Thank you, Senator.
Senator Alma Francis Heyliger, you're recognized for your testimony. For your introduction. Sorry.
Thank you so much.
That's a technical word.
Well, I thought I had to wait as one of the sponsors of this bill, because I wasn't sure if everyone was aware, because I recognize when the reading of the bill was announced, the two minority senators who were actually sponsors of this bill, our names were not recorded. So for the record, the sponsors of Bill number 34-0026 and Bill number 34-0025 also include Senator Alma Francis Heyliger and Senator Javon E. James. But as a sponsor, do I not wait to speak last? Because I want to verify. So I'm going to return the time to you. Then I will give my closing remarks. Thank you.
Yeah, that was the introduction, Senator. You still have your time to speak last.
Your time? How much time
But you
do I
don't.
have?
You don't have to take it. So we can. Thank.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
Thank you very much, Senator Francis Heyliger. Point of information, Senator Francis Heyliger.
And testifiers again. I do enjoy these discussions, because as these bills are put forward, the conversation amongst colleagues as well as testifiers bring light to quite a bit of things that we could either improve upon or discuss. But one of the things that this specifically says, it says no more than 2 of non-governmental board members from each district may reside outside of the territory. So when you say it's not a requirement to say it has to be 4, it says no more than. And if we are ever concerned or in a situation that, hey, when people are being appointed and we're worried about the majority of individuals being more or getting to the 4 number, you just send down 3. It doesn't have to be 4. It says no more than. But I understand the thought process that is being shared by the testifiers. In addition, we did in this subcommittee go through a lot of extensive discussions as it relates to the residency requirements. We walked through regards to people who either lived here, relocated, how long they had lived in the territory, and as my colleague did share, this was a major discussion, and because of non-necessary putting it in the bill, that is why you don't see it here, but all of this was previously discussed. So I wanted to share that information with the testifiers as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Francis Heyliger. Senator Francis Heyliger, you're recognized for your 5 minutes.
Good afternoon again, colleagues, testifiers, as well as people of the territory. As sponsors, as one of the sponsors of both of these bills and as a member of the subcommittee, I want to thank those that came before me from the 33rd legislature that originally brought forth these pieces of legislation that were vetoed, and we have brought them back once again. One of the first thing I want to ask the testifiers, because I keep hearing from testifiers that the legislature is changing, the legislature is altering. I want to make sure that if you guys understand, and this is a question I'm going to ask of everyone, are you aware who has the power and the authority to create, make, change, or even alter laws? Anyone?
Senator Heyliger, definitely. I know that the legislature, we work in a Republican form of government, separation of powers doctrine, we know that. And the legislature has the authority to make, create, and do whatever they choose to do. A power coming from the organic constitution. So,
good.
So what legislature does is, okay.
Ahead. So if years ago,
I'm saying that
if years ago bills were created and laws were created to create boards, and we are now 50 years into the future, 40 years into the future, and we realize that the composition, the authority, and the power that was vested back then is not sufficient, it is not efficient, and it might not serve in the best interest of the people in modern day times. Is it not the responsibility of this institution to step in and potentially upgrade those laws?
absolutely, Senator.
Thank you. So I needed to make sure that was on the record, because when I keep hearing these conversations, almost as if though we're doing something we don't have the legal authority to do, especially in representing the people, I get a little bit concerned. Mr. Chairman Thomas, how are you?
I am well, Senator.
Good. I sent you a letter, I think it was last week. And I hope you got it. We had it hand delivered as well as emailed. Did you get it?
I did.
Good. I want to get a quick update because I keep hearing the WAPA board speak to the interim CEO, I believe his name is Hodge. He spoke that the board is serving the people well. I don't think so. I woke up in darkness this morning, so I disagree. But the question I want to ask you, just for the record as well, the PSC had spoken as well as we had touched on it in regards to these guesstimations and the potential holdup of millions of dollars to WAPA in order to assist. The question I want to ask with you, where do you stand right now with the reduction of that 7.4% in guesstimation of bills to potentially reducing it down to the 2%? What's the status so far?
In the proper context, I believe that the process that the 7% represents was the authority using the current state and structure that exists to present billings to the people. So basically, if you're asking me, what are we doing to reduce that 7%? I can let Mr. Hodge expound on it more, but I would say to you that we're going back to a manual process to ensure that less bills are estimated. That way, that would drive the percentages down, but you need at least a 30-day cycle to show the
1 minute.
Have you started that process as yet? Quickly.
Yes, we have, but I'll let Mr. Hodge speak to it.
Well, let me just say this quickly. As a sponsor both of these bills. Before Mr. Hodge responds to that, I want to ask the gentleman from the PSC, former Senator Donald Cole, a question. As it relates to when you spoke about a potential cleanup of the number of persons potentially residing outside, no more than 2 from each district that we spoke about a little bit earlier. What are your thoughts would be a potentially balanced amendment to that? Because for me, I am a listener. I try to listen and take as much information as possible so we could come up with a happy medium but still get the job done. What do you think would be a good balance? And I also would like to address that to the chairman and the interim CEO, as well as getting my previous question answered. Thank you.
Senator Francis Heyliger, the balance for me is, if you have 5 members of the commission, 2 from St. Croix, 2 from St. Thomas, 1 from St. John, I would say at least 2, 1 from each, St. Thomas, St. John, 1 from St. Croix, 1 from St. Thomas, St. John. St. Thomas, because St. John has its own.
Okay.
I would say 2.
Okay. CEO Hodge?
Yes, I oppose the 4-member that could the board that could be residing off island. I think a good compromise is 2. That is what I would recommend.
Okay.
And in regards to the AMI, we are taking a 2-prong approach to. As the commissioner said, we're hiring meter readers. We've been doing that, and we continue to do that to get manual reads. And then we are rebuilding the AMI system, which was damaged by the storm. Before the storm, it was at a 98% read rate. We haven't achieved that since the storm. We have to build it back to that, and then put in place the maintenance of personnel to maintain the system that, like any other system, has to be maintained if we're going to keep it at 98% or above.
Okay. Thank you so much for your responses. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Senator Francis Heyliger. Point of information, Senator Francis Heyliger.
My point of information lies along similar to what my colleagues were sharing, because I sat in this chambers and heard a direct question, which I didn't hear a direct answer to. It is critical that the people of this territory that is tuned in and watching these hearings understand that when we make decisions, we take into consideration the possible effects across the board. And when you ask a chairman if something is going to potentially financially impact the utility, and we get a story all over the board except getting an answer, these are the types of things that concern me. But what I will say is, at the end of the day, this institution as a body is going to work and do its due diligence to try to clean up WAPA as best as it can. I cannot sit here and consistently be listening to these testimonies where they're trying to imply that our actions could potentially be bringing about the instability of the water and power utility. That institution is unstable. It has been unstable. It is wreaking havoc in our community, and I cannot sit back, duly elected to this 34th legislature, and sit here and constantly listen to the mediocrity answers that we are getting. We have to step up to the plate and take responsibility and understand that the decisions we're making, whether we're on boards, whether we are on utilities, PSCs, or whatever the case is, we are affecting the lives of 100,000 plus people. The buck stopped with us. We have to stop making excuses. I came here not to make excuses. I came to bring results. I came to bring solutions, because ultimately our goal is to make the lives of the people better, period. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Francis Heyliger. Senator Gittins. Point of information, Senator Francis Heyliger.
Good afternoon once again. I just want to say thank you to my colleagues as one of the sponsors of this bill for making sure that it's headed towards the Senate floor. I think at the end of the day, all our work here in this institution is going to pay off because ultimately our service is to the people of this territory. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Senator Francis.